chapter 6 part F। ਇਹਦੇ ਹਰਪ੍ਰੀਤ ਰੁਪਿੰਦਰ, ਇਹਦੇ ਤੈਨੂੰ ਪਤਾ ਹੈ ਕਿ ਬੰਦਾ ਨਾ ਕਈ ਬੰਦਾ ਲੇਟ ਕੋਈ ਅਪਾਇੰਟਮੈਂਟ ਤੇ ਕੋਈ ਲੇਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਹਰ ਕੰਮ 'ਚ ਲੇਟ ਸੀ ਬੰਦਾ, ਤੇ ਵਾਈਫ ਕੰਪਲੇਂਟ ਕਰਨ ਲੱਗ ਪੈਂਦੀ ਵੀ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਦੇਖੋ ਵੀ ਸਿਨੇਮਾ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਲੇਟ, ਘਰ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਲੇਟ, ਸਹੁਰਿਆਂ 'ਤੇ ਜਾਣਾ ਹੋਵੇ ਤਾਂ ਲੇਟ। ਇੱਥੋਂ ਤੱਕ ਕਿ ਜਦੋਂ ਵਿਆਹ ਸੀ ਨਾ, ਮੇਰੇ ਖਿਆਲ ਤੁਸੀਂ ਉਦੋਂ ਵੀ ਲੇਟ ਸੀ। ਮੈਂ ਤਾਂ ਤੁਹਾਡੇ ਲੇਟ ਤਰੀਫ ਤੋਂ ਤੰਗ ਆ ਚੁੱਕੀ ਹਾਂ। ਤੇ ਹਸਬੈਂਡ ਕਹਿੰਦਾ ਹਾਂ ਮੈਂ ਲੇਟ ਤਾਂ ਸੀ, ਪਰ ਇੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਲੇਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ, ਇੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਲੇਟ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਕਿ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਇਹ ਨੌਬਤ ਨਾ ਆਉਂਦੀ। ਇਹ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਲੇਟ ਸੀ ਵਿਆਹ ਤੇ, ਪਰ ਇੰਨਾ ਵੀ ਨਹੀਂ ਸੀ ਹੈਗਾ ਕਿ ਮੈਨੂੰ ਇਹ ਦੁਬਾਰਾ ਨੌਬਤ ਨਾ ਆਉਂਦੀ। Okay, so we go to the question number 33. Duty to repair commercial premises. Number 1 is generally a landlord's obligation unless the lease specifies otherwise. So who repairs the commercial premises? Basically, it's a landlord's obligation. Is that right? It's tenants obligation. In commercial it's tenants, but in residential it's landlords. Number 2, it's not imposed by the common law on a tenant except for an implied covenant to treat the leased premises in a tenant-like manner. So highlight tenant-like manner, and to deliver up the premises as he or she found them wear and tear expected, and highlight wear and tear. So basically this is a tenant's responsibility, but the building is gonna get old and wear and tear is the landlord's responsibility, because with the passage of time the building gets old. Improvement is the tenants, but wear and tear of the building is the landlord's. So it's true. So C should be dealt in writing, so highlight in writing, in a lease to avoid dispute between lessee and a lessor. So when you lease a place, it's better to write that what the landlord is going to do and what the tenant is going to do. It avoids the dispute. That's true, but we are looking for false. D is enforceable by a court only if the lease is in writing and registered in the land title office as required by the Land Title Act. So it can be in writing, but required to be registered, that is not right. So that is false. So A and C is false. Number 2. And then we go to the question number from there 34. Which of the following statement about periodic tenancies are false? Number 1, where a tenant overhold fixed term commercial lease and the landlord continues to accept the rent a periodic tenancy is created. That's true. Overhold means if you leased a place for 1 year, after 1 year if both parties continue to agree, so that becomes a periodic tenancy. That's true. Number 2, where a periodic tenancy is created as a result of tenant overholding a fixed term commercial lease, the resulting periodic tenancy will be on all the same term as the fixed term lease except the rent. So except makes it wrong. Rent should also remain the same. Everything should remain the same. So except the rent will be increased by 10%. So any change will break the periodic tenancy. So it's false. C, where a fixed term residential tenancy expire, it will automatically convert to a month-to-month to periodic tenancy unless the parties have agreed in writing that it will not do so at the time they entered into a fixed term tenancy agreement. So that's true. In residential, if you have a 1 year lease, if you after 1 year do nothing, it becomes month to month. That's true. And the D, where a periodic tenancy is created at the end of term certain commercial lease of 5 years, the new periodic tenancy will always makes it wrong. So basically if both party agrees, only then is gonna be everything remains the same. So the answer is B and D are false. This is number 4. Then we go to the 35. When determining the rights of a landlord of a residential premises, one must look to many sources including the lease between landlord and tenant. That's true. The Commercial Tenancy Act, that's false. We are talking about residential here. So the common law true, Rent Distress Act has nothing to do here, so it's only A and C. So answer is 2. And then we go to the question number 36. A term in a commercial lease which is contrary mean opposite to the term of commercial tenancy act is void and can only be enforced by the landlord if he has reasonable cause to do. This statement doesn't make sense even. Number 2, the implied covenant of quiet enjoyment at common law means that the tenant has a right of privacy. False. It means so the tenant's rights are protected because of the defective title of the landlord. It's number 3, a tenant is usually responsible for reasonable wear and tear. No tenant, landlord is responsible for wear and tear. That's why it's false. Number 4, the doctrine of interest termini is a common law rule stating that no estate in land passes until the tenant enters into possession of the lease premises. That's true. It means, so basically once you lease the commercial property, unless the tenant gets a possession, so then you can sue the landlord only for damages. You can't sue for the possession. But in residential you can sue for both, but either possession or damages. But in commercial, if the landlord doesn't give you possession, so then you can only sue him for damages. And that's true. And that's it for this part.